For a quarter century, Governor Pat McCrory has worked to improve the lives of North Carolina citizens. During his tenure as the longest-serving mayor of Charlotte, he ushered in an era of economic prosperity while improving the infrastructure to support the explosive population growth. He also helped convince Fortune 500 companies to relocate their headquarters to Charlotte, and the first mass transit system in the state was envisioned and constructed under his leadership. Since becoming governor in 2013, Mr. McCrory, you have worked hard to make our state a better place to live, work, and raise a family. Because of your efforts, many of our graduates will benefit and be well positioned in the workforce. Our students who pursue their MBA degree at our Ballantyne campus that is situated just across the putting green from the new MetLife corporate headquarters appreciate your commitment to bringing strong companies to North Carolina. The 2013 North Carolina Counselor of the Year, the 2014 North Carolina Teacher of the Year, the 2014 North Carolina Principal of the Year, and the 2014 South Carolina Superintendent of the Year are all Wingate University graduates. Thank you. On behalf of these individuals and today's graduates of the Thayer School of Education, we thank you for remembering how important education is to our state. All of us were encouraged when we watched your recent announcement regarding your plan to implement higher teacher salaries. We're thankful that enhancing public education is a priority for your administration. Like many of our graduates, you grew up in a small North Carolina town and attended a small independent higher education institution.
Catawba.
Receiving your degree in political science and education from this neighboring school illustrates to our students, their families, and our community the value of a degree from an independent higher education institution. But perhaps the most significant example for our graduates is your commitment to helping normal, everyday citizens. Whether it was serving as a young Charlotte City Council member or chairing the Alzheimer's Foundation or now heading our state as governor, you continue to serve and to put others before yourself. This is a profound lesson for our graduates because this is an important aspect of a Wingate education. Mr. Governor, we thank you for assuring that our graduates who have majored in a great life will have opportunities to live that great life in our great state. We're honored by your presence.
Good morning. This is pretty tough for me being a Catawba College graduate, being on the rivals campus, especially since y'all beat us by 1 point, lucky in the fourth quarter at the end of the game in your football game this year. That hurts. As a reward to each one of you for winning that football game, I'm going to keep my speech short. That's the first applause I've gotten in a long time in North Carolina. You know, for some of you, the diploma you're about to receive will be the biggest accomplishment of your life. For others, it'll be just the latest of many accomplishments. Regardless of where you fall, the degree you have earned is a step forward in fulfilling your potential. My dad, while growing up in Jamestown, North Carolina, constantly told me, he said, whatever you do, son, fulfill your potential. Because each one of us was born with what he considered the word namaskar, the divinity within you. And he said, please take advantage of your potential. And then he said, while you're at it, cut off the TV and read a book and exercise your brain. You ever hear that from your parents during the past 10 years? Cut off now not just the TV, but the computer and the phone and all the other distractions. And read a book and continue to exercise your brain to fulfill your potential. Because ultimately, regardless of the title we have, whether it be governor, whether it be professor, whether it be graduate of Wingate, we're going to have to fall back on the talents that we have. Sooner or later, you're going to have to perform, and that starts now. But how do you continue to develop and fulfill your potential even after you get a degree? What I'd like to do is just give you a few recommendations. First of all, now that you've graduated, don't stop assessing your talent. Don't stop assessing in a hard, cold honesty where your strengths and where your weaknesses lie. You must use your strengths and put yourselves in position to exercise those strengths, but here's where the honesty now comes in. You must also understand where your weaknesses are and how you're going to continue to fill in the gaps of those weaknesses. Now, for politicians, a major weakness for many of us is we believe that once we're elected, that our IQ has gone up 20 points, especially when we're behind a dais. For students now, you have to understand that you have got a degree, but you have to perform. And for good politicians, it's understanding that people will soon tire of what you say, and they will soon tire of your title. They'll want you to perform and start solving problems. And now your job is to start solving problems, whether it be within your family, within your community, or within the profession that you're about to enter. And that's where you begin to understand and learn the importance of building a team with people who are strong in areas where maybe you are not strong. Surround yourself with a diverse group of people, people who are smart, people who can bring diverse opinions and different types of cultural expertise in and around you. When I formed my cabinet last January, I made sure to surround myself with people who are a lot smarter than me. Now, some people would say that's not too high a benchmark, but I did accomplish that goal. And I have cabinet members who are strong in areas such as the arts, the environment, healthcare, education, engineering, legal. They bring about a diversity of opinion. Republicans, independents, Democrats, people who are poor, people who are wealthy and successful. We have different cultures and worldviews, and I need to hear those worldviews as I try to solve very complex problems that this state and this nation have to solve together. This diversity encourages vigorous debate, not simply for the sake of argument, because believe me, we have enough arguing. What we need are problem solvers. And what we need are a vigorous debate for the purpose of constructing better solutions for the problems that face the people of North Carolina and our nation. Now, another thing that you have to be careful of is I want you to celebrate today and tonight. And I want you to be very careful in doing that. But the fact of the matter is, do not get too comfortable with your success and just thinking, now that I got a degree, everything will be taken care of for me. That is not true. Accept the praise and recognition that comes your way, and I was so proud to see the 4.0 students who walked across the stage. How impressive. But now, your major challenge is to adapt to change, embrace change, and continue to use change to your advantage. But the dilemma many of us have is we stay sterile. In fact, when I was mayor of Charlotte for 14 years, we worked hard to build into the city into the banking capital of the United States and one of the great financial centers of the world. Then, all of a sudden, in 2008, the worst financial crisis since the Depression hit the United States and the world economy, and everything crashed. Soon, the banks and financial institutions that helped turn Charlotte into a global destination were either gone or absorbed by an out-of-state rival. All of a sudden, people were unemployed and people were looking for jobs that didn't exist, not only in Charlotte, but throughout the state and throughout the nation. So as mayor and as other leaders in the area had to do, we had to adapt quickly. We had to adapt and recognize what just happened. So what we did was we took stock of our strengths and our weaknesses, and we transformed Charlotte not just to a financial capital of the world, but into an energy capital of the world. And today, more than 260 companies in Charlotte are directly tied to the energy sector. They employ nearly 30,000 workers in jobs ranging from solar panel manufacturing to nuclear engineering to research and development in renewables. We had to adapt and diversify. And as graduates, you're going to continue to have to adapt and diversify based upon the great learning you got here at Wingate University. And the last thing I want to briefly say is this. These times, they are a-changin', as Bob Dylan once said, in my generation, and you're going to have to be incredibly resilient because you're going to go through some downtimes and some uptimes and some downtimes again. And you're going to have to be resilient during this incredible change. And that's what you have to learn in fulfilling your potential. You're going to have to learn to bounce back occasionally, as you've probably had to do just during your 4 years here at Wingate University. No matter how accomplished we become, we're all immune to failure. Chances are, sometime during your career, you may lose a job, a relationship, and some of you might even lose an election or two in the future. Failure is a necessary ingredient of success, but only if one of the lessons it teaches is the ability to bounce back. And I can tell you firsthand, that's not always easy to do. Because you see, in 2008, I decided to take the biggest risk of my life, and that is I quit a job in which I was employed for 28 years. And I decided that I was going to run for governor of the greatest state in the United States of America, North Carolina. I put my heart and soul in that campaign. I traveled all 100 counties. I shook as many hands as possible and conveyed what I wanted to do to the state. But guess what? The people thought otherwise. They voted for someone else. In fact, I even lost the majority vote when running for governor in 2008 by the people of Charlotte, a city that elected me 7 times as its mayor. And believe me, my ego was tremendously bruised. Losing your adopted hometown tears at your heart. After losing in 2008, I still had a year to serve as mayor of Charlotte. And I'm not going to kid you. It was tough serving a city that wanted me as mayor but didn't vote for me as governor. And I became a little bitter and depressed. Well, apparently that showed to some people, including one guy by the name of George Foreman. Now, for my generation, most of you know George Foreman as the former heavyweight champion boxer of the world. For some of the newer generation, you know him because a grill is named after him. Well, I used to see George Foreman about every year as mayor because he was a spokesman for Meineke, and they sponsored a football team in downtown Charlotte, a football bowl in downtown Charlotte. And when talking to him right before I left the mayor's job, he saw that. I said, yeah. He said, how's it going? I said, I lost the governor's election, and in fact, even the people of Charlotte didn't vote for me. So a week after that meeting, I got these 2 boxing gloves in the mail. And on the boxing gloves, it had something very special. And let me tell you why they were very special. Because what you don't know about George Foreman and what my generation knows about George Foreman is in 1974, George Foreman was the 24-year-old undefeated heavyweight champion of the world. He had done almost everything right up to that point in his life. A one-time juvenile delinquent, he used boxing to turn his life around. In fact, in 1968, he won the heavyweight Olympic gold medal for the United States and proudly displayed the American flag to each corner of the ring. And the people of the United States loved him in 1968. But in 1974, he went to Zaire, Africa, to defend his title against another very famous boxer by the name of Muhammad Ali. Foreman, for whatever reason, was cast as the villain in this fight. And even the people, not only were the people in the United States rooting against him, but the people of Africa were rooting against him. And when Muhammad Ali, in one of the closing rounds, knocked him out, knocked him down after George Foreman wore himself out swinging, the people cheered. The loss stunned George Foreman, and so did the rejection by the boxing world. He grew bitter, And not only did George eventually quit boxing, he frankly dropped out of sight for many years. But he decided to dust off his pants and get back up and come back, both from a business perspective and an athletic perspective. 20 years later, in 1994, and wearing the same boxing trunks he had when he lost to Ali and Zaire, the unranked Foreman fought heavyweight champion Michael Moore. George was a heavy underdog until the 10th round when he caught Moore with a right hand and sent him to the canvas for the 10 count. At the age of 45, and I see some graduates here maybe in the 40s, never give up. At the age of 45, George became the oldest man to win the World Heavyweight Boxing Championship. The message George was trying to deliver to me with this pair of gloves that I got in the mail is written on the glove itself. This glove says, "I had to reach out and forgive Africa. They polled against me in '74. For you, the best is yet to come." And then in this glove, he wrote the following. He wrote, "Patrick, with this hand, I missed a lot, but I kept swinging. Your friend, George Foreman." I put these offices on my desk. And I have these offices these gloves in the governor's office now also. It serves to me as a guide, never to give up, keep swinging during the up times and the down times, and understand that you're going to go through some change in your life. When I became governor, North Carolina was going through tremendous change. We were the 5th highest unemployment rate in the country just 1 year ago, the 5th highest unemployment rate in the country just a year ago. I'm pleased to announce that 2 days ago, the new unemployment figures came out, and North Carolina is no longer, not even in the top 30 of unemployment. And for the first time in 8 years, North Carolina's unemployment rate is below the national average. We're fighting hard. And it's because of great universities right here at Wingate, and it's going to be because of graduates like you. Because the way we're going to recruit industry and jobs in North Carolina is to have people who fulfill their potential and continue to strive and learn from each other and work together as a team and be resilient. Enjoy this night, enjoy today, accept this great recognition. But understand that you're in a competitive world and you're the future of North Carolina, and may God help you, continue to bless you and help you, and I want you all to make North Carolina your home. Thank you, and God bless each one of you. And continue to fight. Thank you.